With the winter season behind us, at least here on YouTube, it's time to start thinking about Valentine's Day. Now, if you're not a fan of the bright colors, reds, pinks, and purples, you may lean towards a more neutral palette. And that's what we're doing today. I'll be bringing to you some beautiful neutral Valentine's Day decor items. So get ready to unleash your creativity. For the first Valentine's Day decor DIY, we're going to be making a hanging tray. Get yourself one of those trays from the Dollar Tree, clean it really well with rubbing alcohol. Then you will need some heart cutouts. All these are from Dollar Tree. You'll also need some plaster chalk paint and antique wax. The first thing I did was apply a coat of Mod Podge to the tray so that the paint would stick better. And I just applied one good coat of Mod Podge using a sponge brush. Welcome, guys, to this first Valentine's Day decor video. I hope everybody is doing well. If you are new here, welcome, welcome. If you are returning, I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me again on another great video. So for the hearts, I'm using the antique wax and a baby wipe. You can also apply it with a brush and then wipe it off. I just decided to do it this way. So I'm just going over it one light coat, and I love the way it makes this wood look. Of course, you don't have to use the antique wax. You could use any paint color of your choice and make it into a stain by mixing it with a little bit of water. I think gray would have been a really pretty color to add to this too, but the antique wax just goes a little bit better with my style. Next, once the Mod Podge had dried, I'm going in with my foam brush and giving it two good coats of the plaster chalk paint by Waverly and letting it dry completely in between coats. And I'm using a sponge brush because I'm trying to get rid of those annoying brush strokes that we all seem to get no matter how hard we try. So definitely have some sponge brushes in your arsenal. Once both coats of the paint had dried, I'm taking one of these stencil brushes and my antique wax, and I'm just going around the little bumpy edges on this tray. And I am using the side of my brush to try to only get the antique wax onto the little raised areas. I love the way this turns out. It's just enough distressing. And like I said before, if you don't like this color, then by all means, pick another one or leave that out altogether. If you get a little bit too much in one area, just take a baby wipe, wipe it off, and start again. I had to do that several times. I got a little heavy handed, but that's okay because, like I always say, it's just crafting and it'll be just fine. What I love about these neutral pieces today is that all of them could be left out year round or at least through spring. There is nothing really Valentine-y about any of them. So I like making decor that you can use through all the seasons. I'm just placing some hot glue on the back of the hearts, and I'm putting down the bottom one and the top one first to help me better center the one in the middle, because y'all know me, I don't ever measure anything. So this is about as close to measuring as I get when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I am just using my Gorilla hot glue to do this, and it holds just fine. To cover the holes in the little hearts, I made 3 little twine bows and attached them to the holes using hot glue, and this is how this piece turned out. I love this, guys. Be sure to let me know what you think about it down in the comments. This was so easy to make, and I love the way it turned out. Is this something that you would like to recreate? And if so, what colors would you use? Let me know. Today's video is part of the Just Our Imagination Monthly Challenge, which is hosted by Kathy Jo DIY and Brenda of Rustic and Lace DIY. This month's guest host is Lolly D's Creations. Be sure to check out their channels and a terrific playlist. All of those will be listed in the description box below, so check them out when you're done with my video. For our second Valentine's Day decor, we're going to make a wood heart riser using one of these wood hearts from Dollar Tree, some antique wax, plaster chalk paint, some caulk, and some of these laser cutout hearts from Dollar Tree, these little flower pots I picked up at Walmart, some beads, and a dowel rod. The first thing I did was take 3 of these wooden beads and hot glue them to the bottom of the heart, making sure that the holes of the beads were facing upward. That way, when you turn the riser over, you don't necessarily realize that they're beads. Now, this challenge has 3 items that you have to use. One of them being caulk, the second being twine, and the third being dowel rods. Now, if y'all have watched any of my recent videos, you know that I am no stranger to using unusual items in my DIYs. So the only thing that was really unusual to me was the caulk. So you'll just have to stick around and see what I end up doing with that caulk. So once the beads had time to set up, the next thing I'm going to do is give the heart and my 3 little flower pots one good coat of the plaster chalk paint. Now here's where the caulk comes in. I took a craft stick and I trimmed the end down to a point. I just figured the caulk would be easier to manage that way. And what I decided to do was to use the caulk to give some texture to the edge of the heart. Now, I could have used it and made like Valentine cookies, use the caulk as icing or something like that, but nah. Y'all know me, I got to be a little different. And by the way, caulk is great at giving texture. So I'm applying it just in a thin coat, but I'm letting it be kind of lumpy bumpy, if you know what I mean. That way, that's where you get the texture from. So I go all the way around that middle, I guess you call it, there's like the top of the heart, and then there's that middle section there coming down, and then there's that final little edge. Um, I know I probably made that sound way too complicated. But at any rate, if I get caulk on a part that I really don't want it on, I just take um, the flat part of my craft stick and kind of wipe it off. And I just go around the heart doing that. Yeah, there I am. I got a little bit where I didn't want it. So I just took it away. This adds really, really good texture. And I could have even probably used, say, a nail or something and added some texture to the top. Just took a nail and loaded it up with caulk and made some little swirly gigs on top. But it's easy to say, yeah, I could have once I'm sitting here editing this video. But I love the way this comes out. You just have to have a little patience and give the caulk time to dry and kind of take your time with it. But it's super easy to work with. And if you get it somewhere you don't want it, you just wipe it away like I'm doing right there. So while the caulk was drying, I took my little flower pots, put in some floral foam, and am adding some reindeer moss. You could add Spanish moss. Burlap would be real cute in this. I grabbed what was close. Plus, I thought it would give a little color to this project. So I just hot glue it down to all 3 pots, which this stuff is so messy. So be sure to have something underneath where, like I'm using parchment paper. That way, when I'm done, I can just fold up my parchment paper and put it back into the bag. So guys, if you are enjoying this video, I would appreciate a great big thumbs up. And if you are feeling inspired and would love to see more videos where I help you unleash your creativity, I invite you to hit that subscribe button and become part of our crafty crew and our great community that we have here on YouTube. So once I had the Spanish moss down, I cut my dowel rods down to 3 different lengths, from kind of large, medium, and then small. I wanted them in staggering heights is what I'm trying to say. So then I glued, after I had them situated, oh Lord, it's hard to talk today. After I had them the size that I wanted, I went back with some hot glue and just glued down the ends and stuck them back inside the pot. This is so easy and it turns out absolutely just adorable. I love it. Love it. Love it. Now, when it comes to these laser cutouts, sometimes parts of it don't get cut out all the way. So I'm using a little pokey tool thing. Actually, I think it's called an awl. I'm not sure. My husband got it for me at Harbor Freight. I think it's an awl. If if y'all know, just let me know in the comments. But it's great for picking out all the little pieces that didn't come out originally. And one word of advice here when dealing with any of these laser cutouts from the Dollar Tree, be really careful with them. They are super delicate and will break at the drop of a hat. I think I broke 2 and had to go back and get another. Now, I thought the dowel rods looked a little bare after I'd painted them white. I was gifted these adorable little mini roses. Guys, they are so pretty. And I thought they went with the theme of this video. And they are on wires, and I'm just wrapping them around the dowel rod and adding a drop of hot glue here and there if they need it. Now, I chose this pretty kind of pale blush pink color and then this ivory color. Um, my best friend gifted me these along with a whole bunch of other craft supplies after his grandma passed. They belong to her. So, Miss Louise, I hope you're up there watching, and I hope you love what I'm doing with your craft supplies. So I did this for all 3 of the flower pots. You could use uh I don't know, little, you could wrap them in twine. You could paint them a different color. Um, I don't know where these flowers came from. You might be able to find something similar at Hobby Lobby in the bridal section. Or you could just pick off of a regular floral pick, just some small little pieces and do it that way. The choice is totally up to you. I'm just here as your muse, so to speak, to give you inspiration. So now that the caulk is dried on my heart, you know I've got to distress it. So here comes the antique wax, and I'm only taking a paintbrush, dabbing off the excess, and then going around, kind of dabbing where the caulk is, making sure to hit all those lumpy, bumpy parts, for lack of a better word. But this really gives it some added texture, and I just love the way this comes out. And again, you wouldn't have to use the antique wax. You could use any color paint that you wanted, because caulk is, of course, paintable once it's completely dry. If you get a little bit too much, just take either a damp rag or a baby wipe and wipe it back and just keep on going, which is what I'm doing. I, of course, chose the antique wax because I wanted this to be something that I could leave out all year long, not just, for Valentine's Day or whatever. But this is really a cute little piece that would make a great little shelf sitter. It would be cute on a tiered tray, any kind of small space in your home. And this is what I'm talking about by the texture that the caulk gives. I think this is about as close up as I can get without it making looking blurry. But it just adds just a layer of dimension to it. And I love this. I love the way that it's just so neutral. And even with the little pops of color, you could still leave this out all year long or throughout the spring. You guys let me know what you think about it in the comments. For our third Valentine's Day decor piece, we're going to make a heart-shaped wreath. I was gifted this grapevine wreath by the same friend that gave me all the flowers. You'll need ribbon of your choice. I'm going to be using some white twine, zip ties, and then some florals of your choice. I chose to use these, I guess they're dried, supposed to be dried bundles that I picked up from Dollar Tree, my gosh, a couple of years ago. Um, I love the way this wreath already looked. It looked kind of faded. I don't know if it had maybe been distressed or if it was from being in storage, but at any rate, I love the rustic touch that this wreath already had. And I think this just turns out so pretty. And that's why I chose to go with these neutral, I guess, fake dried flowers from the Dollar Tree, but I'm placing them where I wanted them and attaching both stems just using zip ties and then being sure to trim off those little tails. I like using zip ties that way you don't have to worry about hot glue. You can simply remove everything and then reuse the wreath if you wanted to change colors or what have you. I just love it. Next, I am just fluffing out the little bundles here. And I don't know, do you guys remember seeing these in Dollar Tree? This has been probably 2 years ago. They had different colors. They had these in white. They had some that had uh, kind of like a navy stem, I think. They might have even had a dark red. I really can't remember, but I know I grabbed a bunch of them. Like I tended to do back then, I grabbed a dozen of everything. I made a double loop bow and attached it down at the bottom just using a zip tie, fluffed out my little, excuse me, fluffed out my bow a little bit, then used again a zip tie, cut off the tail. This is the simplest wreath you will ever make. And I think you can find probably one of these grapevine heart wreaths, maybe Hobby Lobby, somewhere like that. Um, if you go over in the regular floral section. Now, to cover up that zip tie there in the center, I'm just going to use some of this white twine, wrap it around, tighten a knot, and this is how it turned out. I think this is so rustic and farmhouse, and I love it. Please let me know what you think about it in the comments. And what color florals would you have used? For anyone that's watched my channel, especially the past few videos, you remember when I created this seasonal box with this awesome distressing on it. Well, some of you said you wanted to see how I used it for other seasons and times of the year. So I thought I would give it a little makeover from winter to kind of a Valentine's Day. So I took some of these little heart picks from the Dollar Tree, a love word that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I'm toning down that pink using Apple Barrel Cameo Pink. It may be kind of hard to see on camera, but trust me, those hearts, the way they come from the Dollar Tree, are a little bit too bright for me. So this Cameo Pink was just the perfect shade to tone that down with. And the love word, I did the same way. I painted over it using that same pale shade of pink. Now, as you can see, I'm just arranging everything in the box. Uh, Off camera, I made some little bowl fillers. I cut some hearts out of drop cloth and some scrap fabric that I had. And I'm just arranging everything in there. I tied the love word onto the top. And guys, if you are still here with me, please leave me a heart emoji. After all, this is a Valentine's video. That lets me know that you guys are still here and have enjoyed the video. And I appreciate you being here so, so much. Now, in the bottom, I still have the floral foam. I covered it with burlap, and then I just put a little sprig of some color in there with those little mini roses. And this is the seasonal box for Valentine's Day. Now, I will leave a link to that video in the description box below in case you want to go back and watch that. Again, I appreciate you all being here. If you found this video useful, if it gives you inspiration, I would love it if you would click that subscribe button, stick around for a while, and give it a big thumbs up. So until next time, guys, y'all go get your craft on. Bye.